So I've been playing a lot of really good games lately, and I'm a bit distressed. I have so many things to say about them, but I can't always get it out in a live setting with live viewers on stream. So I wanted to make this video to relieve some of my distress. Distress and stress mean the same thing, right? So welcome to the first SOS State of the Streams. I don't know, man. This is what we got. I'm basically just going to be rambling about video games that I've been playing lately. Let's start with the oldest, Final Fantasy VII. OG from 1997. I am a little bit of a noob when it comes to JRPGs. Like, I played so much Pokemon as a kid, right? And then over the past couple years, I became really enamored with Kingdom Hearts. Love it. One of my favorite franchises, like, ever now. And then the Super Mario RPG remake came out, and I played that and adored it. And then Final Fantasy VII, you know, all these remakes, rebirths, whatever you want to call them. I had to play this. I knew the one thing. You know, the thing. I'm not gonna say the thing because I don't want to spoil games for people, but it's the thing. That's pretty much all I knew coming into this. I'd never even really seen any gameplay or much of the visuals. I knew that was lower quality, like polygons. I've never played a PS1 game. That being said, I do love the way that this game looks. There's just a big charm to these doofy little polygons on, quite frankly, some of these beautiful backgrounds. The music is phenomenal. One thing that I didn't really expect was in regards to the gameplay. So it's not a standard, I don't, who the hell am I to talk about standard? But as to what I know, a standard turn-based game where you go, enemy goes, you go, enemy go. There's a bit of a timer system. If you take too long deciding what to do, the enemy will punish you for that. I think that's pretty cool. It adds a little bit of depth to the game and rewards quick thinking. I actually do think it might be able to be toggled off. I looked at some of the battle settings, but I didn't really understand too much and I didn't really linger there. But as someone who is a noob to JRPGs, I'm not sure if this is an exception or if I've just been lied to my entire life. Everyone always talks about JRPGs and, like, aside from story stuff, good music, one thing everyone always says is how there's such like a grind fest. And again, I don't know if it's just Final Fantasy VII, but this is not my experience at all. I've probably run from half of the encounters that I've come to in this game, and I've never hit a spot where I was under-leveled. Don't get me wrong, I've come across a couple of fights that were pretty tough, and I definitely found myself thinking in those situations, okay, maybe I shouldn't have been running away from enemies for the past 15 minutes. But when you look at your resources, and you look at your spells and your party composition, I've never been in a rut where it's like, okay, I have to grind. I feel like some quick thinking, strategic resource management, just thinking about what you're doing instead of mashing attack will get you where you need to go. And I find myself wondering, I'm like, is everyone who plays JRPGs and talks about them just like bad? Like, do you not think about what you're doing? Are you just like mashing attack and then getting mad the game isn't playing itself? Tifa Mako! Or is Final Fantasy VII just like a really actually balanced game? I don't know. I don't know because I'm still a noob with the genre. And I've found myself kind of falling in love with it, so I do, you know, look forward to playing more, not just Final Fantasies, but JRPGs in general. So maybe I've just lucked out and picked a really good one to start with. I mean, it is like one of the most famous ones ever, right? Besides Pokemon, I guess. Pretty genre defining. I've been playing a lot of older games lately, another one of which was Ocarina of Time on the N64, and wow, that game is kind of rough. I liked Ocarina of Time, but it felt old. I was playing it and I was like, this is an old game and it feels old and I can tell that it's old, and sometimes its oldness is frustrating. I don't really get that with Final Fantasy VII, man. I feel like this game, I mean, obviously the visuals, but I feel like it's barely aged, dude. I feel like if this game came out today, it would be just as good as it was when it came out in 1997. I love Ocarina of Time, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel like the statement is true there. As much as I am adoring this game, though, don't get me wrong, it's not without faults. Dude, the translation is bad here. Characters will just say things that are flat out like not true, or a character will say something to you, the main character, and then you're provided with two dialogue options that make no sense as a response to what you were just told, and you choose them and then see the extended text from that comes from both of those dialogue options, and then it still just doesn't make sense. So I'm in a bit of a weird spot where sometimes like the game will say something and I find myself like almost in this weird little meta game. I'm like, is the game saying what I'm reading to me, or like do I have to like search and find out what it's actually saying to me? So it's led to some weird things, but it's never to a huge detriment. It's a bit of a head scratcher for a moment, but it's never completely just froze me in my tracks, unsure of what the hell is happening. Some things in the world are interactable, like a chest, and it's glowing. It's not glowing, but it's like, it very clearly sticks out from the pre-rendered background, and you're like, oh, I can open this chest and get an item, obviously. Some items are not like that are interactable. Like sometimes there are some wardrobes that you can open and there's something in there, but they kind of look like the background, and that's fine. It's like a hidden item. But sometimes the interact button is just like really, really finicky, dude. Like there's been 2 times in the game where I've come across this piano and it's like, oh cool, I wonder if I can play the piano. And I mash the interact button like 15 times on the piano and it never does anything. So I'm like, oh, I guess I can't play the piano. And then I come across the piano later and I mash interact with it again. And then it works. I'm like, oh, I can play it now. And people in my chat will be like, well, you could have played it the whole time. I tried to tell you. And it's like, well, how? I pressed the interact button and it didn't play. So, and this has happened in a few specific situations. And stuff like the piano, it's not a big deal, right? It's like, okay, I didn't play the little piano mini game. Who cares? Really, who cares? But then sometimes there's like hidden lore. There's one area, I'm not going to give any specifics, but there's like this lore hidden on a desk and you can click on it and read it, and I almost missed it. Thankfully, you know, I try to keep backseating to a minimum, but my moderator saw like, hey, he's trying to read this, like, tell him that he can read it, because he clearly was interacting with it and it was just not prompting the interaction to happen. Ultimately, I feel like the translation is silly and goofy. It doesn't detract too much. It can be a little frustration inducing at times, but ultimately it's like such not a big deal. I'm loving this game. It's awesome. Granted, I'm only about halfway through the game, so things could take a downturn. I'm on disc 2 of 3 because it was originally a 3-disc game for the PlayStation 1. But where I'm at, it is excellent. I've also been on a Zelda journey for coming up on, I think it's been about 14 months. I played Breath of the Wild, and then I played Link's Awakening for the Switch, then I played Tears of the Kingdom, then I played Minish Cap, Skyward Sword HD, into Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, and now I'm on Wind Waker HD on the Wii U. Wii U, man, what a interesting console this is. Very unwieldy, awkward to use, but dumb. But I kind of like the gamepad. It's kind of nice to use. Zelda has been a series that's been a bit hard for me. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are very much, you know, fuck around, have fun kind of games that have their own flaws. But then when you get into these more puzzle-heavy Zeldas, like the 2D Zeldas, or the older, you know, pre-Switch 3D Zeldas, much puzzle-focused. There's a lot of, like, video game logic, and I never played these games as a kid, and I am autistic, so I find myself getting pretty frustrated at times. It's like, what am I supposed to do? And then you see the solution, and it's either the most obvious thing ever, or something that's like, how would I can't understand how my brain would have ever connected the dots to do this. So I get frustrated playing these games, and that's good. I don't mind that. I mean, it's a little frustrating in the moment, but you cool off, and that's just part of my relationship with the games. I'm fine having that be part of my relationship with the games. If I played a Zelda game, and even Switch era Zelda gets me pretty frustrated at times, but not so much because of puzzle mechanics. That's a whole different conversation. I feel like if I came across a Zelda game where I just do everything and Don't, ram my head against the wall for 20 minutes trying to figure out a puzzle. It's like, why did I even bother playing this game? That's part of the appeal. That's part of the journey. It's fun. My favorite, as of late, has got to be Majora's Mask, man. It's so crazy how Majora's Mask was cranked out so quickly after Ocarina of Time and is such a glow-up. I mentioned how Ocarina of Time feels so dated, and there's fun to be had there, and, respect. And since beating Ocarina of Time, I think my respect has gone and increased for the game. But Majora's Mask, I play it and I'm like, damn, this is just like a damn near perfect video game. It's amazing. And now I'm on to Wind Waker. And Wind Waker HD is just such a hard game to get a grasp on for me. I'm only 10 hours in. I've done like the first 2 dungeons. The game's beautiful. By the way, I love the graphics. I know there's some debate over OG Wind Waker versus Wind Waker HD. Wind Waker HD has too much bloom. And I know I did a little goofy voice to make fun of the person who was expressing an opinion, but I mean, everyone has their preferences, If you felt offended by that, then be offended by that, because it's kind of funny to be offended by that. But I legitimately harbor no ill will to someone that has a preference, right? Music is stunning. Wind Waker is actually the Zelda game I've always wanted to play before I got into the franchise. I've seen, these screenshots of Toon Link, and he's making these goofy little derpy faces, and he just looks so expressive and so cute, and I love the cartoony look, and I was always really excited to get to it. And now I've gotten to it, and this is a weird one. I don't know how to feel about this. I've mentioned that the graphics are nice, the dialogue's fun, it's a funny game, it's silly, it's cute, the music is beautiful, but where I'm at, the game has kind of been broken into 2 segments. Here's one segment I love. I love these major islands that I have visited. I've been to the first 2 major islands with dungeons on them, as well as like the kind of the hub city, and these are all a blast to explore. There's fun, unique NPCs. They're interesting and varied. Kind of see like little threads of quests and stuff that you'll be able to do later. Just good Zelda shit. This game feels a lot more actiony, platformy oriented, maybe not platform, whatever, video game buzzwords, than puzzle focused like Ocarina and Majora, though Majora's puzzles are an entirely different beast. The quests are the puzzles for the most part in that game, which is different, but when it comes to the dungeons and the bulk of the gameplay, very actiony and kind of simple. I think someone in my chat joked, oh, this is just like Mini Ninjas. Obviously, it's better than Mini Ninjas. Which is kind of a trash game, dog. But simple doesn't mean bad. I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. And that's a part of the game that I'm adoring. Where I'm struggling right now is the other half of the game, which is sailing around on your ship on the ocean, which, quite frankly, is the part that I was so excited to see. I get into the game and it's like, cool, an open world. I'm going to be able to sail around the whole region on this ocean and have my own adventure and my journey. And that's cool. That's a cool premise, and you get excited, right? You get excited. You're like, yeah. And then I tried to do that, and invisible wall. And it was pretty frustrating, and eventually I just had to come to the terms with, okay, it's not exploring time. We just need to go to the dungeon that the game very clearly wants me to go to, and if there's something on the way, we can check it out. And that's cool. That's fine. And then eventually the game does open up, and the invisible walls are gone, and you can go anywhere. But I've just found myself in this spot where I see all these islands, and it's like, okay, cool, let me go to that island. And you explore the island and do what the island wants, and there's treasure, and it's rupees. And that's good. Currency, right? You like currency. You need to, like, buy things in video games. That's fun. But I have had my wallet maxed out for literally like 70% of my playtime. Excelente. What does he give us? What is that? Oh, that's a treasure. Oh my god, it's just gonna be money. It's just gonna be wasted money again. I think I've burned north of 500 rupees. And I feel like this should not be happening. So what's the solution to that, right? Spend money. What is there to buy in this game? Berries and pears. These are like the only items that I've seen for sale. I'm like, what? I can buy potions, but you can also get potions for free by trading in resources. It's weird because now the game has opened up and I can go anywhere I want. And I'm seeing all these cool locations out in the distance, and I want to go check them out, because doesn't that feel like what I should be doing? I should be exploring and sailing around and seeing things, right? But in doing so, I'm rewarded with rupees, which then get burned into the ether, which doesn't feel good. It feels like I'm being incentivized to not explore, which feels like antithetical to the premise of the game of having your own little boat and sailing around to all these islands. So it's like, am I supposed to be exploring or not? Or maybe it's not now, but then I don't know, maybe it's just my own mental brain and it's the FOMO. It's like, what if I pass it up? What am I going to miss if I don't go there? And then I know logically, like 9 times out of 10, it's money. It's going to get burned. But when you're in the game, you know, your curiosity just takes over. You want to go see it. You want to go see what's over there. And it's just, I'm in a really weird spot right now. I guess the solution I'm going to have to come to is just not go to these islands and explore them as I pass them. But that just feels like it's going against the spirit of the game. I don't know. I need to find the game's terms and play on those terms. But I don't know what its terms are. It's a little distressing. And I'm sure when I get over this hump, which will come to pass, you know, stores will open up, money sinks will become available, and, you know, maybe then I'll be like, damn, I wish I didn't burn 600 rupees to dust for no damn reason. It's like it's open, and then there's invisible walls, and so it's not so open. But then it does open up, and you're cool, it's open now. And then I use that openness, and it feels as if I'm being punished for using that openness with money that disappears forever. I don't know. It's weird. Love the dungeons, though, and love the graphics. I don't know. I'm curious to see, once I beat it, where this one is going to rank, because it is quite different. It's a little closer to something like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, with this sense of exploration rather than, you know, the tighter crafted Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask experience, right? So it's different, and I am digging that. I just need to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. How am I supposed to be playing? And don't give me any advice. I mean, finding that balance is, you know, part of the journey with the game, you know? You just got to get there and figure it out, man. So it's weird. I'm loving it, but also I find myself distressed so frequently when I'm playing it. It's as of right now, I'd say it's a pretty mixed experience. That it is obviously leaning towards the positive. Of course, it's Zelda. I haven't played a Zelda game I hated. Hell, I love Skyward Sword HD. People hate that game, dog. I think it's better than Ocarina of Time, to be honest. And now this weekend, Princess Peach Showtime is coming out, and this is such a weird one because they were showing when the reveal happened. I was like, oh my god, Peach game. And then they showed a little bit more information. It's like, oh my god, there's going to be like all these outfits and they give you abilities. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait. And then like the gameplay trailer showed, and it was like 15-second excerpt of this costume and like 10 seconds of this costume. And I was like, oh, okay, like sure, showing me all the abilities. And then promo material just kept coming out. And I was never seeing more than a few seconds of gameplay at a time. And I don't know, the gameplay like really looks all that fun or good. I mean, I was starting to have reservations. I'm like, is this game gonna like be bad? I don't know. And that was really disappointing to me to feel this. And then the demo came out. I haven't seen any of the demo gameplay. I don't want to. I do want to go into the game blind. Or as blind as possible, rather. Everyone went from being really positive on this game to pretty much, like, mirroring my worst fears. Baby game, they say. It's so easy, they say. no depth, they say. And these were things that I was fearing, but also, like, I kind of find myself a little critical. Like, well, it's the demo, right? Isn't it like the first 2 or 3 levels or something? It's like, of course it's going to be basic. But where will complexity come? And does it matter if that basic aspect is, pretty solid? Does it need to be super complex? I don't know. We'll see when I get my hands on it. I just played the Bluey game, and I enjoyed it. Now, granted, if I'd paid $40 for it, I wouldn't have enjoyed it. And I am going to be paying full price for Princess Peach Showtime. But, man, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going into it wanting the game to suck, but I am going into it expecting it to be like maybe a 6 out of 10 that I enjoy my time with, but isn't, very good. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Princess Peach Showtime? Are you excited for it? Or if you're from the future, did you think it was good or bad? Did you have any of the fears I did leading up to release? Fingers crossed for Peach game. We love women here. As much as my chatters will try to tell you otherwise. I do love women. We respect here. Absolutely. That's about it for the first BFL SOS. I have no planned schedule for any videos like this. This is very much a when my heart is suffering from words to say and no way to express them besides this, these videos will happen. So no frequency. There'll probably be another one eventually, maybe. Who knows? I enjoyed just sitting here and rambling. It's been about 30 minutes of just nonstop stream of consciousness for me. And so that was satisfying to let it all out for sure. And I hope you enjoyed listening to this like kind of chill, no jokey, just kind of, talking video. Hope you had fun with it. Maybe it was nice background noise at the very least, right? I kind of enjoy listening to videos like this, like even if it's something I don't know about, like Orbalology. I don't know how to pronounce that username, but I like her collection videos. She talks about a bunch of JRPGs that I've never heard of in my life, but damn, her videos are kind of a vibe. Maybe you can have a similar experience with something like this. Thank you for watching. Catch you on a stream sometime. Peace.